Hello, OmnusIans. It's me, Rob, here once more with you to chat a little bit over a little coffee. You got me, you got the coffee, let's talk. Nothing too dramatic this time. I'm kind of resolved with ManyQuest to... I'll take whatever I get. However many people leave a comment, I'm not curbing my ambitions. I'm just willing to settle for, however many of you put out a comment. Of course I want more. Of course I'd like as many people to participate as see this channel and want to get in on what I think is a pretty cool game. I've got a good scenario right now where there's a monster, but it's open-ended, and I can, hear what people have to say about, what they would do in this situation. So yes, I would love it if you would get done with this video and run right over to the lair of OmnusI, hit up ManyQuest, and check it out. If you haven't already. And if you have, maybe you've thought about it a bit, put down what you think that Dirk should do in the situation facing down the Gobmite. That'd be cool. But if you don't, my life will go on. My world will go on. Yeah, you're the one missing out, not me. I've got some excited, engaged people who are already in, so... But I don't want to be negative about this. So it's there for you if you want it. On the other side, some fun things have been happening here. I've gotten a hold of some fantastic bulbs. About the time, shortly after I put... This should come out shortly after I put out my new Lair of OmnusI video. Yes, I'm excited to put out a new Lair of OmnusI video. And I'm going to have the third season start in August. With a new intro, new focus, and everything. The first season was roughly my first year. August of 2016 to August 2017. The second season has been everything after that. And we're going on to 2018, 2019. It's been because there's been a lot of things going on here. Put out a lot of videos, a lot of kind of diffusion of different ideas and concepts and things that I've been chasing my passions. For instance, I love board games and card games and playing those with my friends. And my son wanted to get in on making videos for me, so the cardboard series came out of it. I've collected a lot of interesting, some vintage games, some newer games, and I'd like to show them to you for your own consideration. These days, with eBay and digital distribution, things like that, what's old is new again, and a lot of these games you can still find. Many of them I found in thrift stores, so sometimes serendipity plays a part of it, but if you try hard, you could probably find most of these games. Sometimes even at really cheap rates. So, that's cool. My Ask the Wizard was just kind of off an idea and wanting to dress up a little bit more. Kind of a fun thing. I floated and had some takers, and boom! I had a series out of it. And I'm going to go back to doing that some more, too. There's some series that are really crying out for me to keep developing them, like Class Warfare. That was a good one. It's a bit more time-consuming. That's a lot of video that I shoot, especially for some of the classes. But I think with 5th edition D&D out, and I've talked to a lot of people, and even, there's so many new people coming into the hobby, they don't have the depth of experience with games and playing class-based role-playing games. So a lot of them have questions about, what makes this class tick? What brought this class to be what it is? Some of them are kind of strange, like, the Bard class that I did first. The idea is, where did this Bard class come from? It's kind of a hodgepodge of different ideas and things, and some of them don't make a lot of sense. But if you go back to when the class first started, and you watch the transformation, you might see, oh yeah, that's how that got in here. That's why this class borrows from this and this and this. So, all in all, I like that series, and I want to do more of it. My Dungeons and Darkness series, where I take my Massive Darkness game and I give it a D&D spin, and I take some elements from Massive Darkness and throw it into D&D. I think that's got a practical use for everybody, especially those who went in and got Massive Darkness or want to get it and are, strapped or could use more resources for their Dungeons and Dragons games. The base set has like 75 miniatures. If you don't have any miniatures to your name, a game like that can be a godsend because you're paying less than $1 a miniature for those figures, and they're high detailed, nice miniatures. Now, if you want to take that and turn it into your game, well, sure, you can have those miniatures represent things that are already in the game. Some of them are really easy. Orcs are already in D&D, but some of them aren't, and with a little bit of work from someone experienced in gaming and adapting games, we might be able to make something that could be really useful to people who straddle those games, I think. On the positive side, I'm constantly trying to update and do different things. If you watch the Lair of OmnusI video, you'll notice the coloring was a bit different. No, I'm not jaundiced. No, I didn't replace the sign, my Lair of OmnusI sign with gold. I switched to these Edison bulbs. They're LED, but really have a nice effect. I like the coloring. Gives it kind of a nice vintage feel, which I think adds a little bit of gravitas to the character. I may use it for other things, but quite honestly, it's a nice shadowing effect. Stark shadows, a little bit of a sepia tone into it. But I like it. Let me know if you think it was good too. They were a little pricey, but like I said, I do like to spend in certain amounts resources of mine to make my channel better, to make my role-playing games better, and so on. I have some new red bulbs that big sale at Menards, which on my spotlight can really give a dramatic look. I've already played around with that. Expect to see that in videos coming up too. Should be fun. My 4th of July should be fun. I took the day before, the day of, and the day after the 4th vacation. So number one, that means I should be able to get a decent length video. It'll be a surprise what I do. Although if anybody wants to, lure me to what you favor, I'm open for business. Comments below. But that'll be fun. I might do a couple videos, actually. A certain amount of that time is going to be spent cleaning. We're going to have an epic game day. So my regular group is coming over on the 4th, which is Thursday, our usual game day. Grilling out some ribs, and I'll be cooking, and my friends are bringing over some dishes, and we're going to have a big old potluck, cookout, what have you. I'll have a grill open if anybody wants to bring their own flavors of meat to grill it to. That should be a lot of fun. The DM is at work until about 3:30 to 4:30, so we will get to start before we usually do, which is usually around 6, which will be nice. So it'll be a solid night of gaming, and it'll be my job to occupy my fellow players, because I'm not the DM for this session. And I think I have enough things here to occupy everybody. If the weather is bad, we can easily come down here into my basement lair and play games and watch movies and whatnot. So that'll be fun. I'm also... Well, actually, I really haven't talked about this here. So I have a great idea. And I again, love to know what you guys think of it. I'm thinking of starting a a group, an organization. One of the things I've talked about, one of the things I value about role-playing games, is that they're a shared storytelling experience that is special because they're so ephemeral. Meaning, once the group that did those things, that played the game, that have the story to tell, nobody else knows that story. It only has value to the people who were there, who remember it. I think that's kind of a shame. A long time ago, crawling around on the internet, I found a website, I think it was called the Internet Graveyard, and people would put down their character's name, date of death, and whatever killed their character off. I thought that's kind of neat, but I think what would be even more valuable is if people recorded what a great deed that their character did, or something that their character was known for, a great quote, or something. So this is my idea. Dressed as Dirk Casterly, I want to go to various places. My favorite local gaming store will be one of them. But with a stack of parchment, which I have, an ink quill and a quill and my inkwell, and just invite people to come up and tell me about stories about their characters, or about their campaigns, some bit of lore, maybe a bit of information about their world that makes it special, and I will record it, and then I will shoot a video extolling the virtues of the character or campaign in question. I would record the session with me taking down notes for archival purposes. But if those people agree, I may just, keep a video of me listening to other people tell me stories about their role-playing experiences, their characters, their games, and so on. I know that whenever you go and you meet up with somebody who's a role player, and you yourself are a role player, one of the first things they do, it's like dogs sniffing each other's butts. We tell each other about our great stories. Half the time it's to impress each other, and some of it I think is really just an urge to share the memories with other people so that they aren't as transitory. So that other people may also share these deeds about what we have done. I certainly do remember stories people have told me, for better or for worse, and have passed on some of them to other people. And I think that's kind of an instinctive thing that we have, is we love this hobby, and we want other people to know what we've done and the cool things that were said and done. So I'm still working on a name for it. My original thought was the Character Preservation Society. The problem with that is the initials for that are CPS, which in the United States is also Child Protective Services, which is not an acronym I want to bleed over. So I'm still on the fence about the name. I think just changing it around, the Society for the Preservation of Characters, would work, the SPC, but I was also thinking the Society for the Preservation of Lore, Information, Characters, and Experiences, Splice, might work, although doesn't have, it's not a great fit. I mean, it works, it's a little more memorable, but I guess I've spliced together these things into video form, so there's something for that, I guess. I don't know. If you have any great ideas, make sure you let me know. I'd be fascinated to hear them, and tell me what you think of the idea in general. I think it's worthwhile. I don't know how much participation I'll get. I'll try. I think if nothing else, the sight of me sitting there dressed up as a bard in my favorite local gaming store, or maybe someday even a convention, and just listening to people's stories and taking notes, writing down, and someday recording and immortalizing, as far as YouTube is immortalizing anything, I think that would be a lot of fun. And it could be something that a lot of people get behind. Ultimately, maybe something that I'm not the only one who's a proponent of. So that would be cool. That would really be cool. I certainly have stories that I will be entering into the system. Interviewing myself will be strange, but not outside of the ordinary for what I do. And I already have one person, the Escapist Club, or Lee Grixit, as He's on Facebook, who championed the cause himself. Wasn't the person who actually gave me the idea, but it dovetailed in with his idea of also doing kind of interviews for us to introduce our characters that we've had in the past to each other. Not quite the same thing, but along the same lines. So, one hand washes the other, right? Could be fun. But, yeah. Those are a couple of the things that are going on here in the lair. I have received a bunch of new books lately that, Half Price Bookstore has been good to me. So I have some Omnus Critic videos due pretty soon. I do take suggestions for those. If you have a role-playing game that you're curious about, I will make every effort to get a hold of it and review it. Though the Omnus Critic generally does a little bit older games to try to keep some of these older games in the public eye. For Exhibit A, I would point to my review of It Came from the Late 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 Show, which was a lot of fun to do. I'm doing another character witness series. I need to go and do the Dungeons and Dragons character witnesses. That one's a finite series. I only have so many role-playing games after all, and while I think it's a useful endeavor, and I've already had a few people who asked me to do other games. Simply put, it's hard to do a character witness on a game that I don't own. I am very anti-piracy, so people who just say, oh, just go get a PDF online, I don't do that. As somebody who has dreams and aspirations of being a writer and a professional game designer myself one day, I, have a certain value on the author's rights to profit off their stuff. So I don't pirate and I don't lift off of things unless the author has given their blessings for whatever reason. For that, I would point to, for example, Talislanta, where the creator has posted many of his PDFs of older editions for free, and they're kickstarting to put out the new one. So that I respect a lot, especially for somebody like me. With my character witness, I love to go to the earliest iterations of a game and show how that game has developed and grown. To me, there's a lot of value in doing that. It's hard to do, though, because, well, you don't always want to go and hunt down physical copies of all those older games. Okay, I would love to go and do that. I need another house for that. Realistically, that's not going to happen. So, on top of collecting a few new hats here and there, because that's what I do, which you'll probably see. And the oddball miniature right now. We have a new kind of a child in the house, because it's almost as big as a small child I just picked up, which you will see in the Lair of OmnusI video. If you go to the end of the video, we have the new miniature of Olhydra, Princess of Elemental Water. She's bad news for any adventuring party who is not at epic level. New board games to throw at you for more cardboard games. Didn't get a lot of feedback. Tell me if you've seen the cardboard video that I posted. It was a two-parter on Fireball Island. A lot of fun to play. Unfortunately, I can only envy people like Will Wheaton with his tabletop series, where he's got camera crews and can put in good shots and side interviews and things like that. I'm much more low-tech than that. A single fixed-point camera and a bit of zoom is about as much as I can do right now, but someday perhaps. As it is, I just want to take these games and bring them into the public eye and let people who are curious about some of these games have a peek. So, again, this is for you. It's a little bit for me because I enjoy making videos, but this is mostly for you. Labor of love and something that I freely give to my viewers. That being said, and podcasting. If you haven't checked out An Honest Wizard on Spotify or Anchor or a bunch of other sites like Radio Podcast, do so if you like 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, We are counting down all the cantrips and giving suggestions and tips on how to use these things to the most effectiveness, suggestions on alternate ways of using them that may not be explicitly spelled out in the rules. I have a lot of fun with it. We do it as Lord Cadrian de Flynn. So doing it from the perspective of a wizard talking about a role-playing game to me was just too funny to pass up. Yeah, I could have done it as Rob, but this was more fun. And it is. I have a lot of fun with it. Of course, he's somewhat dismissive, but gets excited about the good ones. So it's fun. Another little love letter, and hopefully a way that people can enjoy more things about the game that I enjoy playing and running. So that's all the things that are going on here in the lair. Like I said, got a lot of new content in my head. Trick is getting it out on video and then getting it to you, but we'll make every effort to do that from now for the foreseeable future. Till next time, I choose to crawl in front of the internet. Cheers, and we'll see you next time. Farewell.